and as people come in, they can just join us. So my name is Monica, and today we are going to talk about prairies, and I'm super excited to talk to you about prairies because we live in a prairie state. So I don't know if a lot of you have ever traveled across Nebraska or maybe stepped outside your back door, but you see a lot of grass and a lot of prairies, really tall grasses, and maybe you see lots of birds. So we have lots of prairies in Nebraska. So we're going to go ahead and talk about those today. And I have a really cool book I want to show you. The drawings and the pictures in here are super, super pretty. So I'm excited to show you. It's called The Prairie, sorry, it's backwards here for you guys. The Prairie Nature Built. And does anyone know what kind of animal this is on the front? Maybe you've seen this animal before. He's about this tall, and he stands up on his front two legs, and sometimes he barks. What'd you guys say?
Prairie dog.
A prairie dog. Good job. Yeah, it's a prairie dog. So we have quite a few of those in Nebraska. Amanda has more of them out in her direction because the grass is a lot shorter. Our grass on this side of the state is about, well, sometimes 6 to 8 feet tall. So you couldn't really see a prairie dog in that tall grass, could you? It'd be too short. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So this is called The Prairie That Nature Built. It's a little bit longer of a book, so hold on with me, and then we're going to take a field trip through a prairie and see what kind of animals we can find. All right, so this is a prairie that nature built. You guys see lots of animals. You see a prairie dog and a butterfly, and there's lots of grasses and some really pretty flowers. All right. So these are the critters that worm and squirm, alive in the dirt, so dark and thick, under the prairie that nature built. Some of these critters squirm so small, without a glass you can't see them at all. But they are big eaters and builders too, making good earth from animal poo. Does anyone know what kind of animal this is? Does anyone know? What is it?
Owl.
An owl, yeah. And you know what? This owl lives underground. They don't really live in trees. They live underground and they eat bugs. Do you guys see that? He has a grasshopper in his mouth. Yeah, it's a burrowing owl. Good. All right. These are the diggers with tunnels so steep, making soft burrows where prairie pups sleep. Alongside the critters that worm and squirm, alive in the dirt, under the prairie that nature built. Prairie dogs dig tunnels galore, lucky for owls, snakes, ferrets, and more. All right, so do you guys see all the animals that live in this prairie? We have burrowing owls and hawks and flowers. Does anyone know what these things are? Anyone ever heard of a ferret? This is a black-footed ferret. And we have snakes, and we still have all those pretty flowers, don't we? There's a lot of animals that live in prairies. Oh, this one's a tall page. These are the roots that plunge so deep, long and strong, holding water to keep, down past the burrows where prairie pups sleep, alongside the critters that worm and squirm, alive in the dirt so dark and thick, under the prairie that nature built. Such long, strong roots can save the day. When rain you want still stays away. All right, so do you guys see all the animals that live underground? We have ferrets, and it looks like prairie dogs, and there's a snake. And then on top, we have burrowing owls and prairie dogs and all these really pretty flowers. Oh, look, what's that? Does anyone know what kind of animal that is?
A bullfrog?
Oh, not a bullfrog. What is it?
A frog? A snake.
There you go, a bull snake. Yeah.
A snake.
You don't have to unmute it.
All right.
You were so close.
These are the plants that shoot so high, seeking food from above the sunlit sky, up from the roots that plunge so deep, down past the burrows where prairie pups sleep, alongside the critters that worm and squirm, alive in the dirt so dark and thick, under the prairie that nature built, the sky-reaching plants turn toward the sun, following the path of its east to west run. So we have birds, and now we have some, what is that? Does anyone know? What is that?
Hummingbird.
Very good, a hummingbird. What about this animal?
Butterfly.
Good, a monarch butterfly. And then we have some rodents, nice
Mouse.
caterpillars.
Caterpillars.
So many animals that live in the prairie. All right. These are the insects so fragile and shy that buzzing and whirring bring pollen by to all the plants that shoot for the sky. Down past the burrows where prairie pups sleep, alongside the critters that worm and squirm, alive in the dirt so dark and thick, under the prairie that nature built. Some of the butterflies were so far, they traveled from Mexico without a car. All right, so I see grasshoppers and butterflies and bees and all these plants. Oh, okay. We got some different animals here. These are the hunters, so skillful and wild, preparing to pounce on the grazer so mild. Under the dark clouds where thunder booms, for all in the prairie, danger looms. Does anyone know what kind of animal this is?
Wolf.
Well, it's kind of like a wolf, but it's a little smaller.
Coyote.
Oh, good, coyote. What about this animal? Does anyone know?
Fox.
Good, a fox. What about that one?
Buffalo.
Good, a bison. Yeah. What about these guys?
Antelope.
Good, yeah, pronghorn. Amanda has those. She's seen them in her backyard.
Oh.
Same thing.
Yay.
All right. Ooh, a little dark here. This is the rain that splatters the ground and quenches the fire that blazed all around. All right, so sometimes we do get fire in the prairie, don't we? It's okay. Sometimes it's really good for the plants and the animals. What about this guy? What is that?
Turtle.
Good, a fox turtle. And prairie dogs here. And we got some birds.
Yep.
All right.
Get back.
Okay, months later, surprise, quite out of the blue, out pop green stalks, all bright and brand new, painting the ashes with color and dew. The blazing fire that blackened the reeds fed the ground and burst out seeds. So remember how we said fire is good? So all that fire burned up everything and then new plants can grow. So does anyone know what this animal is?
Butterfly? No, wait, no, can't be a butterfly.
Dragonfly.
Dragonfly. A dragonfly. Good. And then we have another snake.
Snake.
That looks like a garter. And then we have a butterfly or a moth.
Yeah.
Butterfly. Okay. This is the one when taking a walk, found a bloom upon a green stalk. For who saw the lightning and felt the rain that killed the fire and calmed the plain? Who heard the birds singing so high and smelled the flowers where insects flit by and spotted the doggies ducking to hide in tunnels so deep, plunging past roots, stretching so deep, alongside the critters that worm and squirm, alive in the dirt so dark and thick, under the prairie that nature built. All right. So you guys saw a lot of animals. Oh, one more page. This is a prairie that grows so free, and this is the kid that loves it. That's me. All right, so we have a lot of animals that live in the prairie, don't we? We saw, what kind of animals did we see? Do you guys remember? What animals did we see?
Turtle.
Turtle.
Butterfly.
Oh, you guys have a book too about prairie dogs.
Butterfly, dragonfly,
We saw
fly,
dragonfly. What other animals did we see?
a snake,
Oh yeah, we did. What about, did we see this animal?
yeah,
Yeah, we saw a snake. Did we see a frog? Did you guys see a frog at all? I don't think I remembered a frog. Do you guys think frogs could live in the prairie? No?
Frogs live in the blue land.
Oh, they can. You're right. Yeah, but you know there are frogs. Hold on. I have my friend today. This is a leopard frog. And you know what? He does live in the prairie. He loves kind of the wet prairie areas. So we have frogs in the prairie. And you guys told me there's turtles. Let me pull his head out here. Here we go. Here's the turtle. So we have turtles in the prairie. Did we see any bison? Did we see bison?
Yeah,
Yeah, we did see bison. We saw a bison today. So in Nebraska, we don't have a ton of them, but we do have some, and they get really big. Has anyone ever seen a bison before? Yeah, they're huge, aren't they? Yeah. What about, did we see any insects in the prairie? Do you guys remember what insects we saw?
yeah.
Do you guys remember? What was one insect that we saw? He might have been yellow and black. Someone said a dragonfly. Yes, we did see dragonflies. You're right. What's an insect that was black and yellow and it goes bzzz?
A bee.
A bee. Yeah. So we saw a bee in the prairie. So in Nebraska, we have lots of bees. We have bumblebees, the really, really, really big bumblebees. And we have things like honeybees. And we have carpenter bees and leafcutter bees. We have a lot of bees. What do bees do? Why do we like bees?
Because they drink nectar.
They drink nectar. Yeah, and you know, do you guys know that bees help make our food? Someone said they make honey. Yes, they do make honey. Does anyone know, well, does anyone else like tomatoes or almonds or chocolate? Yeah, so bees are pollinators. Someone said they're pollinators. And so they use all those nectar and pollen, and then they help make our food. So we really like bees. What about, did we see one of these in the book? Yes, what is this? Does anyone know?
A butterfly.
A butterfly, yeah. So we saw lots of butterflies and moths. Does anyone know what a moth is? What's a moth? They're kind of like a butterfly, but moths, mostly, they come out at nighttime. And butterflies come out during the daytime. All right. Did we see any birds in the prairie? Did we see any birds? Yes, I see people going like this. Yeah, we saw birds. Well, I want to show you a really cool video. Someone said a hummingbird. Yeah, we saw hummingbirds, and I think we saw an owl. Did I remember right? Did we see an owl? A burrowing owl? Yeah. And we also saw some songbirds. Well, I'm going to show you a very cool video of some birds in the prairie, but these birds are big. They're huge. They're called prairie chickens. Has anyone ever heard of a prairie chicken? Did you know that birds will dance? They dance? Yeah, they don't like, you know, do the disco or anything like that. But they stomp their feet really fast and they make really cool noises, and they will kind of inflate their orange air sacs. So I'm going to show you guys a really cool video of this is happening right now in Nebraska. So these animals are trying to find a mate. So they're looking for a girlfriend. And so I'm going to show you this really cool video here. I'm going to share my screen for you. Right. Let me, I want to make sure that you hear this as well here. Hold on, we're having some issues here. Share sound, there we go. All right, so everyone sees the video, right? Okay, we're gonna show you guys some cool prairie chickens. You need to listen. Air sacs on his face. So they're kind of like balloons. So there you go. You guys saw some prairie chickens. So what did you guys notice, or what did you see about those prairie chickens that you thought was kind of cool? What did you see or hear? Ooh, someone said stomping. Yeah. So they were stomping. If you guys saw them, they were moving their feet up and down really fast, like they were jumping. What did you guys see? What colors did you see on their face? What colors did you see? Orange. Someone said, oh, they can't unmute themselves. Let's try that. Let's see if you can do that then. Someone said,
I saw there was like a balloon underneath. Oh,
well, yeah, someone said they saw it look like a balloon on their neck. You're right.
They look like
just say
I got something to say.
And someone said they look like they eat a bunch of rocks.
Yeah.
They don't eat rocks, but there might have been a lot of rocks out there. You're right.
Okay, Emery, what did you say it looked like?
Because they look so bad. And they look like they were going to throw up because their neck would keep on blowing up.
Yeah, so they can inflate their neck like a balloon. Wouldn't that be cool if you could do that and you had really pretty orange neck and you could just blow up like a balloon all the time? Yeah. What else did you guys see?
Okay, Emery,
You saw bunnies? You're right.
there you go. She heard you.
Did you guys hear them? What did it sound like? What did you hear?
It sounded like there's a big buffalo roundup.
Okay, but big buffalo.
Sounded like their danger call.
Yeah. Did you guys hear that really low humming noise?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I always like it when they whoop. I like the whoop, whoop, whoop kind of sound. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of did sound like owls. You're right. So when these prairie chickens do this, they do it really early in the morning, probably before any of you are even up. And so they are trying to find a girlfriend. So they're calling for the ladies, and then they kind of go and do some other stuff during the day, and then they do it again at night. So it's really early in the morning and kind of just as the sun is starting to set. So that's pretty cool. If you guys ever get a chance to go see the prairie chickens in Nebraska, those of you that kind of live out by North Platte, that is a cool place and a cool thing to see. All right, well, that was all of our stuff about prairies today. But thank you guys so much for joining us today. And we have one more Nature Tales next week. And Amanda is going to talk to us next week. All right, so thank you everyone for joining us.
Nicole, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.